Welcome, Rabbi Say. We're starting the daf. We're holding in Zevachim daf Peizayin. Today is a special day, Chof Kislev, Yechezkel of Rav Hudner. So, Shosham and Aliyah, and Beis Hashem.
Both of my grandfathers learned it.
Carolyn. Okay, so we're starting up in the bottom of the Pevov with base, literally in the one line before that, in Itmar, where it says Itmar Piushu Koidem Chatzois V'Yechezkel Machar. So remember, yesterday we learned that these pieces of meat, the limbs, became hard. So if they fell from his bag before Chatzois, you put them back. They fell from his back after Chatzois, so then what happens? You can take them out. So Gemara says now, what happens if it fell before Chatzois and he brought them back on his back after Chatzois? So after Chatzois is 12, just to make things easy. 11:55, the limb falls off the mizbeach. He puts it back at 12:05.
So meaning, is the din in when it falls or when it goes back?
It's not in Chatzois on his back. That's a problem. So let's see. Rabbi says.
It doesn't make a difference. No, so it makes a difference when you put it back on.
Yeah. Rabbi Omar, the Pizarro Dalef, Chatzois Sheini Yochal. The next night you have a Chatzois. Okay, so you wait for the next night. You need to be, in other words, the Rabbi is telling us it has to be at Chatzois. Not this night, next night. He's the Omar over the Shachar Chalto. No. In the morning, once you get the dawn, then it's then you have ready to start, because that's once it gets to the morning, you don't have to wait for Chatzois. The morning itself is the one that consumes, so to speak, the evening, and it's done. That's when you consider the video. It was done. And so says the Gemara, what's the reason? My time in the Rav Chisda. What's the reason? Chatzois, there's no lino. What's lino? When you have an item that stayed overnight, they call it possible. Chatzois is not overnight. 5 of them. I say equal, but it doesn't equal the once it reaches Chatzois. You don't put it back on the mizbeach. You don't bring it back. Regarding Evarim, Omud the Shagat shows Selino, Einer Din shows equal. Omud the Shagat does Lino. I mean, once you pass morning, it becomes nicer. So of course, if it becomes nicer, it will do equal.
Nicer applies even to non-edible.
Yeah, everything.
Right?
Yeah.
So that means that if
but here we're talking about it. You were talking about the Evarim. We're talking about the limbs.
Right. Well, this is not they're not eating anyway, but meaning
no. This is
nicer. No, this they're not eating, right?
No, it's a piece of meat. I mean, you're not eating because you put it in his back.
Right.
So I look. But it's edible.
Yeah, the din of nicer is that even something that's not being eaten has a din of nicer.
Yeah.
So that means that what? So this is the only time where you would have a situation of something that's not being eaten that's nicer. Right?
No. Many things you have that's not being eaten is being nicer.
It just didn't make it out of the at all.
Yeah. Says the Gemara now. So of course it will do. It's a kavachomer. If you tell me that the morning makes it, so Kodesh Kedah will do it. Continues the Gemara. Piushu koidu Chatzois v'Yechezkel Machar with the Shachar. Now listen what happened. It fell from the mizbeach at 11:55, but you put it back on only 8 o'clock in the morning.
You would crush it.
You didn't do it that night.
Not just some.
So then it is Rabbi Omar Chatzois Sheini Rechalton Rav Chisda Omar Ein Mem Kivi Kuloy. So Rabbi says, okay, so wait for the next night.
Why is it not nicer?
It is nicer. We learned the nicer you put on his back, it goes okay. Nicer that was done that's on his back, that's one of the psulim that you leave it on his back. This back couch. So now I have this nicer, so you put it on his back. And you the next night you have equal, and then you're done, and then what happens with the equal? The equal is the Mishnah says if there's no meal, it's consumed with his back. If you missed that night the Chatzois and you missed the morning, there's no equal. Meaning it's always that problem with equal. Right? And you have to bring it back every time. Rashi brings until it doesn't become into ashes. You don't say it's done. You have to still bring it back. Had to go have Yosef. So ask Yosef. Uman lemul on the Chatzois b'roshim mizbeach mashvili. Dilmo koil echod the mashkachel mashvili. Who said that it needs to be on the mizbeach? We are assuming, this whole Gemara is assuming, that in order to have equal, which means to be burned, to be considered burned once it's hard. It was burned, burned somewhat. But and once you have a burning, we have a burning. So we are it's burned. So now you don't put it. It was burned on the mizbeach. It's on the mizbeach on chatzos. So now I go and I say chatzos makes it equal, and now it's no meal. You don't have to put it back. It says who's has to be on the mizbeach to do that? If it was burned at the beginning of the night, and then comes chatzos, wherever it is, it can be on the mizbeach, it can be below the mizbeach. Why you decided it has to be on the mizbeach to be equal?
Even in that moment.
Says the Gemara, Shochum Misam, Halacha Kav Yosef. So if Yosef said it, from Eretz Yisrael they said if Yosef is right. Tosh already asked over here why we need to know Halacha Kav Yosef. Yechezkel Mashiach, the Gemara said earlier. It's on the gas today. Okay? Even now, Chir said also. If it fell off the mizbeach before chatzos, put it back after chatzos. Meaning there's no meila and also no ano. Why no ano? So rational is there abana. You can't enjoy it. Tais says no. It's the rice because it came the lechem the mizbeach. So you can't enjoy it. Why? I don't have to be in chatzos. You, the Gemara, before you assume, it has to be at chatzos on the mizbeach. No, it doesn't have to be at chatzos on the mizbeach.
Just means it has to go back on.
Doesn't it go on? Before chatzos, it has to be burned on the mizbeach. Once it got burned, semi-burned, that's what we're talking about, shriving, it's hard. At chatzos passed, wherever they are, on the mizbeach, on the floor, it's done. Very interesting question in the Gemara. Very strong, they said it was right. That it's right. So Rabbi Yechezkel my place. What is Rabbi Yechezkel talking about? Meaning, for some reason here in the Gemara understood the Rabbi Yechezkel are not going to come and argue with all these assumptions. Usually you can say they argue. They hold that it has to be on the mizbeach for chatzos. One does not argue. So they're not arguing what they're talking about. If it fell before chatzos, it came back after chatzos. Say, well, I'm going to lay the shmeinim, the fat ones. Which one? Limbs that were not fully burned. We spoke about limbs that were burned, they became hard. Fat, it's still fat. It's so fat, you have to put it back in his back. And then you have machlokes what to do. So according to, if it fell before chatzos, sorry, if they put it back in the morning, so and the machlokes Rabbi says, okay, once you get to next chatzos, you're good. Chizah says you miss your opportunity. The opportunity to do chatzos only that first night. You miss the first night, and then you have to let it completely burn off. Lino moelas b'rosh mizbeach, or eino moel b'rosh mizbeach. Is lino on rosh mizbeach? Meaning, lino means nicer. If I have something on the head of the mizbeach, does it become nicer if it wasn't burned? It's burned, it's burned. But if it wasn't burned and it's on the mizbeach, is there anything like lino, which means nicer? Now let's understand the Gemara. Says the Gemara. If it's still on the mizbeach, that we know clearly. That's what probably bothering with Vigdor. See his face. Is it bothering? He can't clear, right? We know that if something was nicer, completely nicer, and you went and put it on the mizbeach, what's the din? So, of course, if it's there the whole time, you don't bring it down. That's not a shayla. Hello, the yardu, they went down. It was on the mizbeach doing chatzos. Then you brought it down to the floor. I mean, when it was on the mizbeach the whole night, it didn't burn. The next morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, coming in, they're cleaning up the big party that was last night, and they find the limb fell from his back. Is it nicer or not? Gemara explains. Do we treat it like a shulchan? What's the din of shulchan? The not. Which means, Rashi explains, today comes to argue a little bit of Rashi, but this thing we'll use Rashi because this doesn't argue in essence of Rashi, he just argues in the raya of Rashi. But what does Rashi say? The din is, the din of bread, lechem upon needs to be on the shulchan. How long? How long lechem has to be on the shulchan?
Didn't it stay the whole week?
Whole week? Shabbos. If there was some kind of a mistake, by mistake, they did not put the lechem upon on the shulchan until Sunday. How long do they have to stay on this back?
No.
A week.
Oh,
it has to stay a week. So what happens if it comes Shabbos, they switch the bread. They say, this bread came too late. They wait with it until the next week. 1 second. But after 7 days, it already belongs to next week. So it becomes lino. So no. On the shulchan, the bread stays in the shulchan. It's staying in the shulchan from Yom and Rabbi for a month. As long as they not leave the shulchan, there's not become noiser. On the shulchan, there's no noiser. I mean, the lechem on the shulchan. Says the Gemara, is the same thing by Mizbeach or not? Says the Gemara.
So what would that mean that there's no noiser? That means that if it stays on for 2 months and then you take it off, you can still eat?
Yeah, in theory. I feel that's what Rashi. What's the ride from there? There wasn't a full week. But I feel so the same thing about Mizbeach. We deal with the karka midamina. No, maybe no. Maybe Mizbeach is not a doesn't have a din of shulchan. Homelay ain lino b'rosh Mizbeach. On the Mizbeach, there's no lino. There's no noiser.
It's there.
It's there. You're good, like the shulchan. That's what Rabbah says. Keep looking there, Lord. Did Rabbah accept Rabbah or not? This is what Rabbah said. You have Ilonim that stayed overnight in the Azara. You bring on the Mizbeach the entire night. Right? Meaning the whole night is the time to do it. It stayed overnight on the Mizbeach. You can still put it on the fire forever, everybody agrees, because on the Mizbeach it's Kodesh. Yordu, meaning it was on the Mizbeach during the night. Then it fell off. There's no lead in Rosh Mizbeach. Shvavi did not agree with her.
And the reason he says lo yal is because they already passed the chatzos period for that.
No, you gotta make some chatzos. You gotta make chatzos.
What? Yeah.
Nicer. They were there the whole night. According to Rava, there's nicer on the Mizbeach. Once it passed the night and it fell off, you don't put it back. You don't put the soul in the Mizbeach. Only if lo yerdu. Lo yerdu, lo yal.
So he's saying that if it was left over on the Mizbeach, it's also no good.
It's also nicer. It goes nicer. If it's a Mizbeach, you sleep it there. According to Rava now. If you remember, we saw the parent, we brought Chekira with the Achronim. Can we say that on the Mizbeach becomes Kodesh? Or just on the Mizbeach, it says on the Mizbeach? This could be a little bit of the Mechalish Rabbi Rov. Now it says on the Mizbeach, it's Kodesh. Holy, nothing happens on the Mizbeach. Good, you don't know. It happens, but you leave it there. Once it fell, it fell. It's a beautiful word that comes out based on the Arvei Nachal. The Arvei Nachal, this will be the Shom Machshava today. The Arvei Nachal says, what's the idea of Lino? What's Lino? Why? What's the issue? It's Lino stayed overnight. It's like the tries like this. Inyanim Amukim, but Kishvaka and Kuda. Chris said God goes and does Torah and mitzvahs. Every Torah mitzvah he does, in the night he goes to sleep. His Shema goes up to Shemaim. All the Torah mitzvahs they did go up to Shemaim and stay there. The next morning, he didn't do anything. What do you mean do anything? It's up to Shemaim. It's waiting for him, lost love. That's the proper way. If he gets up in the morning and he still feels good about the fact he did Torah mitzvah yesterday, that means he didn't go up. That means it stayed here. He did something wrong with his Torah mitzvahs. They became a little puzzle. They didn't go up to Shammai. That's why he feels so good about himself. So that's the other thing. If a person feels guy, how much Torah I learned yesterday? You still remember what you did yesterday? So that means he didn't go up. That means it's Lino. That's Lino. Lino means it's nice. Overnight. It's not become nice. He doesn't say that. Some quote him saying something which is not there, not safe. There's the seven called Chasida. He put together Nikuti from Chasidus on Shas. He says something that not brought down the Arminach. I checked all over. I did searches in 4 different. So I'm going to say a little different than that based on the Imre Emes. The Imre Emes says, brought down the Sefer Nikuti Yudah. The Imre Emes says that the fact that Ein Lini B'Rosh Mizbeach is why the top of Mizbeach is L'malam Min Hazman. Same thing. It says Yaakov Avinu he didn't sleep for 14 years. Why? What does it mean? Because when he went to 14 years to Yeshiva, he went to a higher place. It's not this world. And that's what you said when he went to sleep in the night of in Vayivka B'Mokah B'Yom Chum. He said, "My no Mokah Zekim Zebeis I want him sleeping here. It's not a place to sleep. It's above. There's no leaving. There's no sleeping. So you don't like everything continues. The life continues. That's what happens in Mizbeach. So you made Efshar that shot. When you Rosh Mizbeach, there's no lino. Lino is it stays down here in this world. But Rosh Mizbeach means it's in a higher place. There, the Torah mitzvahs can stay. That's not an issue. The issue is when it comes down to this world. That's the issue. And that's the discussion of Mizbeach have the same dinner.
So again, how do you want to try and see Yasir?
No, they just the Makom Kadosh. So things there's no lean over there. It's in a higher place. So the problem with leaving the Torah mitzvah is living in this world. The Torah mitzvah is the higher world in a better place. So if you look at Shesh Mizbeach Mekadesh, it says the Mizbeach Mekadesh, so also the Kelim of Mekadesh. Torah Abba Negab Mizbeach, so Tush Mizbeach, Einli Elam Mizbeach. Kedesh B'nai, how do you know the ramp? To Mudoyme Es Mizbeach. Es, Total Mizbeach. Kli Sharis B'nai, to Mudoyme Kol and Negab Ben Migdash, the touches because Kadosh. What we Shlokish Rabbi Yechanan, Kli Sharis B'Shekachus Absor. So here is a little difficult Gemara, because what is a Shlokish to ask Rabbi Yechanan? We just said in the Mishnah the Kli Kodesh and Mekadesh. So what's the question? So Rashi says, what we wanted to ask was regarding Pidyon, meaning it doesn't have Kedusha Seguf. You want something because Kodesh Kedusha Seguf, you can redeem it. So he says, when I take something, put it into the Kli Shores. Can I redeem it or not? I want to tell you too, what do you mean? It's a fair Mishnah. Here is Be'er Ve'kel Mekashim, so we're lame. Kach Kelim Mekashim. Of course it becomes Kodesh. I want to Chetchilu Likorv Karibayim, meaning something possible went in a Kli. We learned before. If something possible goes on the Mizbeach, you leave it there. Something possible went into a Kli, can I put it down on the Mizbeach or not? Or you're saying there's a Kli considered to be like being on the Mizbeach as if it's Kodesh.
And on the Kedesh?
Yeah, Kedesh will be like the Mizbeach, it's a Mizbeach. That's the question. The Taisis over here, he learns that we're talking about, it's a whole different shot. This is a whole different Mahalach. It's a long case over here. It goes like that, it goes down here. What Taisis wants to say is, we're talking about, he takes the Kli, this is the Kli, and he puts it on the Mizbeach. That's it, one understood the question in the beginning. It says, is it considered to be on the Mizbeach, or because you have here a separation, so it's not on the Mizbeach? Is the Kli Sharis also Kodesh like the Mizbeach when it's on the Mizbeach? So he answered him, he said, it says Kelim Mekachim. He says, no, I'm asking not about if the Kli is on the Mizbeach. I'm asking separately, if something went into the Kli, possible, can now I put in the Mizbeach? So he says, Hanamitin, bring a raya, another raya for the Mishnah. It says, we said earlier, should keep one of the psulim is, keep the psulim, the zarku is dam. Psulim received the blood in a kli, and that's A. B, they threw the blood. So you have Kabbalah, and you have Zrika. Gemara understands the same thing. They received and threw. I have to say that. Once they received it, it became vessel. Elamah, they received it in what? Like Lisharis makes it Kodesh. So even though when they received it, they ruined it. But because it's in the Kli makes it Kodesh, it's not a problem. The problem is when they do this Rikas out of the Kli. That's what Gemara says. Shekil Psul Zarkas don't. My life, Shekil Psulim Vezarku Psulim, Mashra, they only make Kaaba, it's okay. It says, Shekil Psulim, Inami Shizarku Psulim. It's not two different, it's not one case, it's two different cases. Either they received it, it's a problem, or when they threw it. Either or. Not a right. That's question number one. Then one says another question. That according to the Shinu Kubet to the area, the words Ibailu. It's a new discussion. Of your Mizbeach, Dami Oiloi. Is the air of the Mizbeach like a Mizbeach? Meaning, airspace above the Mizbeach. Does it have a din like a Mizbeach or not? What does it mean? What? Let's see. Let's see. In other words, first of all, the point is, let's say you have something which is not standing on the Mizbeach. It's in the airspace of the Mizbeach. So do you say you don't take it down?
Is it already? Meaning if he's holding it.
They weren't very good. Holding is the discussion. That's the one that stands in the beginning. Let's see. It says the Gemara Toshma. Right? So what do we do? If you're on the ramp, it becomes Kodesh. Hold it. But one second, I have to take it from the ramp and bring it to the Mizbeach. So I have to pick it up. So when I ask, the Mizbeach, if the airspace is not like the space itself, so you may allow Kevish of Kevish. So the ramp airspace is also not air. It's not like the ramp. If I take it from the ramp to the Mizbeach, what am I doing? It's taking it down, so I can put it in Mizbeach. It's in the air. Something about the nogula. You know what he does? He doesn't pick it up. He rolls it. Right? He rolls it. So 1 second. There's air. There's a spacing between the ramp and the Mizbeach. As we learned. Here's what we learned before. More I said before, there's a little air because it says the Zark has to be a Zrik, has to be above air. So you have a little place here to discuss how big is that air. It says, is it above, do you have the Mizbeach below the air? Or you have actually Karka? Says more, you're right. You know what you're doing? You're right. What he does, he takes the limb, takes the limb, and he rolls the limb. There's a hole between the kevis and his back, like this. It says when it's here, most of the aver is on the ramp. We are a little closer to make it easier. When it's here, the roiv is on the. No, there's never the roiv. The gap is too small. That's the problem with places. But the Gemara understands that the aver is either ruboy on the ramp or ruboy on the mizbech. It's never. No, when you roll it, it's going to be always on something. Most of it is. There'll be some areas that will be on the air. That's fine. Says the Gemara. So one thing I do have a ride from here. What is it? Yechezkel. The question of Yechezkel means, do I look at a piece of meat of hegdish, like one big piece, and if part of it is okay, so everything is okay, well, I say no, every ounce and ounce is its own piece. Here you see, I'm saying, as long as the majority is on his back, it's okay. So you look at it as one big piece. Yechezkel, it's one chibur. Says the Gemara.
It should be right? Because they have the whole.
So says the Gemara, look at Shatif Shot. Yeah, we'll bring around for me, that's true. Chibur, there's chibur. Says the Gemara, if you hold the ear. Okay, so that was the right number one. Again, we have a problem. What is the distance between the kevis and his back? Taisha discusses it. Is it a small space or is it big? The small space makes a lot of sense. So the bigger space is a little hard to understand. So I have to think about it. Says the Gemara, another question. His back. I mean, I have another problem. If you hold the ear space in his back, it's like his back. Where's oila saif done? We all know oilas, oif is done up. You're doing on his back. Now what's going to be? He has a machshav. He makes it bigger. But 1 second. Where is he when he's doing the machshav? On his back. Anything on his back is still kaddish, so it'll never become possible. And let's just say the airspace is not, so when it's in the air, it's not a problem. So what's oil? So the mizbeach already was received by the air of the mizbeach. So matko shir ba'ashi alam aloy. Why not? Mashkar l'kendo ma'arini molko amatlo rido l'mochor ulaloy solaktir. I'll tell you what he has. He says, here's the machshav. Machshav is, I'm on the mizbeach. I'm thinking that tomorrow I'm going to take it down. I'm going to do a liko, and I'm going to bring it down tomorrow and bring it back up. So now, once you brought it down, it became puzzle. And now here's the puzzle. That's against this puzzle. Says the Gemara, that's good. If you hold it on the mizbeach, it becomes nicer. So you wait till tomorrow, it becomes nicer. You go down, it's puzzle. We're going to Rabba the holds. There's no lean on top of his back, so on his back it never became possible. So what's the machshava needs to be? He's thinking something bad. What's bad? I'll leave with him his back the whole night. Whoa, so no issue. So they say machshava. There's no machshava problem. So the Rabba now mashkel. There is a case according to Rabba. The question is what was eating the hammer in the Gemara? According to the Pasha. Going to Omar.
They never actually bring it down. So the machshava is bring it.
Yeah, for people it's only for the machshava. You don't have to actually do it. Going to Omar any molko not loy. Read the koydem with the shachar with the loy slachar with the shachar. This he will agree to. He takes it down before morning. What happens when we take it down before morning? So when morning comes, where is the piece? Off. When it becomes nicer, then everybody agrees that it becomes nicer. So here's my wrong machshava. So you could have a machshava by you say, how can it be people by your side? You have a man take it down. So well, okay, I hear that. Let's bring a different one. The mizbeach, Kevin's back now. Be right that the airspace is like mizbeach. Here's the kedar of mizbeach, like mizbeach. Because if you hold it now like mizbeach, with the pichas and the time. Chata so ipsulo, hey mazimi damo, having the yorud. What happens over here? You have chata soif, right? You went and did miliko on top of the mizbeach, and it became possible. Shalom lishmo. Rashi says shalom lishmo because milika could be any place in his back. He did milika shalom lishmo on top of his back, right? So he took a chata soif, he shechted in the wrong place on top of his back. So where is going to be the problem? The problem is the fact that he sprinkles it, right? So how do you sprinkle? So the din is what? The din is, Rashi points out, Well, let's see what Rashi says. Look at Rashi to look at. Look at Rashi, the first Rashi in the Chatas Psul Shemol Kol Rosh Mizbeach Shaloi Lishmo Upasa. The Abagav, the Nasis Lamaton, you really should do it there below. Hamalei Malko the Chol Mokam Mizbeach. You can do it anyway. For Loi Pasul Maila Day, Elo Bazo. He did it Shaloi Shmo. The Kaim Chol Psulim Im Olu Lo Yerdu. Then is when it goes up, it doesn't go down. Hey, how can you sprinkle it? He picks up his hand. So I have right now, he has the Chatasoy in the wrong place. Can I sprinkle it? Yes, because on his back is okay. No, he can't. Because once I'm going to pick it up, it's going to be in the airspace. I'm going to sprinkle it, it's going to be in the air. It's going to be, really, you can't leave it there. Says the Gemara. So again, I'm going to really go on and get Chavsar, and you sprinkle it, have it Yorud, to be below. Sharp Psuli Yechezkel Klu. Midomo. Any Psul, you say, if you put it on his back, it's okay. 1 second, but the minute you sprinkle it, it's out of his back. And once it's on his back, it's not a problem. How do you throw it? How do you zog on his back? So the thing is, once something's on his back, you don't take it down. So what do? Let's say I have blood on his back. So, okay, so sprinkle it into the fire. Once I sprinkle it, you're putting it out of his back. Right? So well, you're right. The Magalu. I'm not gonna throw it. I'm gonna touch it. I'm gonna leave it on his back. Right? I said the fire. Forget the fire. Put it on the wall. The blood you put on the wall. Say I want to put it on his back. I'm not going to throw it on his back. I'm going to stick it to his back. I'm going to touch it. Says the Gemara, Hazoi, Mitzvah. It's not Hazor. Hazor by Oif. Oif, Hazor means you sprinkle it before. Mitzvah means you squeeze it on the wall. Hazriko by the thing. Shrichli. Zriko means you throw it from far. Shrichli is you pour it right there. You're doing the wrong avodah. That's also not the normal way of doing it. We never said do it differently. If a Adam is standing on top of the Mizbech, then all these things are considered to be airspace is like the Mizbech itself. Right? Right, because his body is considered to be like a Mizbech, and it's considered to be on the Mizbech. Not a problem. We're talking about the person is not on the Mizbech. He's holding a stick. And the stick, on the stick, you have that limb. So he's picking it up, you have putting your ear and he's sticking it on his back with a stick. That the shaila is airspace is it considered to be that. If it's being on his back itself, or an Adam is holding it on his back, that's considered to be on his back. That's where it's supposed to be. And if that part of that avodah, the Adam is standing and throwing, it's also part of that avodah. How to compare that you're not doing the normal way? You're taking a big stick and you're holding it up on his back. Is that considered to be on his back or not? And the Gemara says, Teikoi, we don't know the answer to that. That's the Gemara states, and this will remain with this question of the Gemara. But you have to come and say this whole idea that it's not only the Adam himself standing on his back, but anything that he does on his back could still be part of his back. Because if not, how does the Gemara answer sprinkling the voice in the air? The answer is no. Anything that I'm doing is considered to be part of the Mizbech. So go to Rabbi's side, stop over here, continue from the mission tomorrow. Hopefully we will be back.
Tomorrow's Israel.